Welcome to Fintech Confidential, bringing you the people, tech, and companies that change how you pay and get paid.
In 2010, actually, when the earthquake, for months we didn't have access to financial services. That happening in Haiti, and it clicked. We have to provide something different. We had the platform, we had the product, and that was it. I didn't start knowing that I was going in technology. Problem solving is my drive. I have to solve things. The Diaspora community, they send money out of, they feel guilty or feel responsible for this. By connecting the Diaspora Fund to the local community, it can serve as a source of funding to create wealth. We even wrote the regulatory framework for the central bank. Well, pretending to. I wrote a letter to the central bank and saying, I want you to come and regulate me and treat me as a standalone financial institution. I don't want any banking partner. I will bring financial inclusion as you wish. A year and a half later, they issued that new regulation for fintech, allowing digital payment solution provider to fully operate it independently on the market, regulated by the central bank. Young people out of the banking sector knocking on doors and saying, we can build digital financial services together. Everybody was saying, no, you don't know anything about finance, you don't know anything about banking, so please don't. There was this state-owned bank president, and he says, this is where we need to go, let's do this. And we partnered with them, had a big lunch. Later, we realized that traditional banking is not the best partner for a fintech. We don't commercialize product the same way. Trust is a very important factor. When we have reliable information at the same time, we trust the transaction. It's not that we don't trust digital finance. I need to know that it was received. The instant delivery is also very important. We live in a world where things need to be right away. I need to have this information. That's very important to build trust.
Are you ready for the future of finance? Mark your calendars for an event like no other. Fintech Islands will be coming to Barbados from January 22nd to 24th, 2025. Be part of the fix. This 3-day conference is a gathering of mission-driven leaders from across the globe, innovating to create financial access and economic opportunity. Get ready to be inspired by the brightest minds and boldest entrepreneurs shaping the future of financial services. Fintech Islands is the place to learn, make the right connections, and build your fintech business. Be part of the fix and transform your future. Take advantage of this must-attend event. Visit our website to register now at www.fintechislands.com. This is the Fintech Islands experience, coming to you at Sam Lord's Castle, Barbados, January 22nd to 24th, 2025.
Welcome to Fintech Confidential Series, Leaders One-on-One, where we sit down with fintech leaders to learn about what drives their passion through their life stories, for leadership, and for their business. Today, I have the privilege of diving into the world of fintech with Pascale Elie, a true pioneer in the industry. Pascale, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you for having me in the show. I'm very happy to be here with you.
So if you don't know, she's a driving force. She is and was one of the founding driving forces behind HaitiPay, Haiti's first privately regulated fintech company, which she co-founded to tackle the financial challenges faced by many in her home country. Her work with HaitiPay has not only provided innovative payment solutions, but it's also opened up doors for countless individuals to access essential financial services. Now, she has a background in mathematics and economics, and Pascale has leveraged her expertise in these areas to create a platform that serves as a vital hub for financial transactions, bridging gaps between banks, digital wallets, and international remittances. But her impact doesn't just stop there. She is the chairwoman of CellPay. She has expanded the vision that she had beyond Haiti to connect global remittances with local merchant networks across Latin America and the Caribbean. Her leadership at CellPay focuses on empowering Diaspora communities to support their local economies through targeted financial transfers. And this January 22nd through 24th, Pascale will be bringing her insights to the Fintech Islands Conference in Barbados, where she'll join me and over 700 other innovators from around the globe. Together, we'll explore ways to build a more financial, inclusive, and efficient financial system. And it's an exciting time in fintech. And of course, Pascale is at the heart of it all. So, Pascale, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person in Barbados in January. But I have to understand from you, you started in mathematics and economics. How did you end up becoming a two-time founder in fintech?
I think my personal journey, going to school, and I always connected with mathematics. That's my problem-solving trait of character. I really love this problem-solving thing, and I studied in Montreal and started working in pension fund administration. It's fun in mathematical way. It's fun, but I didn't see any problem solving in Haiti at that time. I launched an insurance company with a financial group in Haiti, and then I start thinking, okay, we want to go in insurance, but what about the ones who cannot offer traditional insurance products? So we need to offer something different. And this leads me to financial inclusion thinking and problem solving again for communities who doesn't have access to traditional financial services. I did a lot of market research in my professional parcours, and that leads me in 2010, actually, when the earthquake, and we woke up in a day. For months, we didn't have access to financial services. Fintechs were, digital payment was already in progressing very fast in the world after the 2008 banking crisis, and we already had an idea where we want to go. But that happening in Haiti, and it clicked. We have to provide something different. Different companies were already on that same path, and we waited 3 years before launching our product. We had the platform, we had the product, we were on an observing mode. We had competitors in the size like 100 times bigger than us. We started reaching out to families, friends, and say, okay, we have this idea. What do you think? Put on some money. And we raised some fund, jump in a plane to France, sign a contract with a fintech company in France who was launching also at the same time. And they had that great idea of digital finance also that was quite in sync with our vision. And that was it. We started the company, observed the market for 3 years, partnered with a commercial bank, which is a very difficult task in Haiti, and launched a product. Now, 10 years later, we had a lot of progress. We're still partnered with that company in France, and they also made a lot of progress on their platform because of our input. Also, it's a true partnership. It's a true way of working with a platform or a partner that is really in sync with our vision. So I didn't start knowing that I was going in technology, or I know I happened to be there. But problem solving is my drive. I have to solve things.
I totally get that. It's funny you mentioned I didn't plan on it. We like to call that the falling into fintech story. We never plan on, and there have been a couple people that I've met along my journey over the last 2.5 decades. That was what they wanted to do. You touched on it very briefly, but I'd love for you to really share with us the story of that moment where you're like, I identified the problem. I've got to solve this problem. I'm going to go all in on it.
In the chronogram, the first venture I officially launched as a founder, we had that earthquake and everything shut down for weeks, for months, no access to traditional finance. And we knew that things were happening in digital finance, and looking at different market, we had that focus on M-Pesa in Africa, saying that this is the model. And when I say we, I have to mention that I launched the company with my husband and different other shareholders that we chose strategically because of their understanding of what is the vision that I had. I was able to share and translate so people could understand, yes, this is a real problem that you're talking about and that we need solution for. And then we gathered those partners, eventually investors also, founders, and we started looking at this as, okay, there are models existing, M-Pesa in Africa that I mentioned, but this is a financial service we need to bring. This is a financial service for people who needs not only financial service, financial product, but they need financial literacy. And we decided we're not going telco oriented. We have, at that time, Digicel was launching their product also. Voila, which is another GSM company in Haiti at that time, was launching their wallet, telco oriented. Telco, their main business is airtime. They're doing their money on data, airtime, calls, internet, etc. Digital service is a value added. My vision was digital service is our core business. Digital service, non-traditional financial services is our core business. We're not here for the data, for the internet or calls. And because of that foundation, the search for the right technology also began. We have to have something that make us independent of the banks, independent of the telco. That's how we found that extraordinary fintech in France, and they had that same vision as us. They saw they're not a player. They don't have a product to the end user, but they provide product to fintech. And this is one of the key aspects to our business, also launching the business, is strategic partnership. Having partners, especially at the beginning, that are completely in the same level as we are on the business model, on the business value and the business strategy also. So that was very, very important. And that's how in 2013, we launched HaitiPay with one of the commercial banks. I think I mentioned that it was not a very easy task. Young people out of this banking sector knocking on doors and saying, yeah, I have a digital platform that we can build digital financial services together. What do you want? What do you think of partnering with us? And everybody was saying, no, you don't know anything about finance. You don't know anything about banking. So please don't. And there was this bank, a state-owned bank. We talked to the president, and he says, this is where we need to go. This is interesting. He liked the idea, but out of curiosity, he's like, yeah, this is interesting. Let's do this. And we partnered with them, had a big lunch, and like 6 to 8 months later, we realized that traditional banking is not the best partner for a fintech yet. That could, and today I think that the story would be different, but 10 years ago, it's not the best partner for in fintech. That we don't commercialize product the same way.
Well, 10 years ago, anywhere in the world, not just Haiti, anywhere in the world, a technology company working with a traditional financial institution, especially an upstart, and even more so, an upstart with founders that are not from the industry. Yeah. Right, you had a lot of things stacked the deck stacked against you at the beginning. And I'm so proud as a technologist and fintech fanatic that you were able to break through that and be able to deliver a product. I would love to understand how it transitioned, what you took from those challenges as being that first-time founder in fintech when transitioning over to launching CellPay.
Yeah. At the same time, you're looking for that banking partner because that was the regulation at that time. And you have investors looking at you like, okay, time is ticking. When are we going to have a product? And one thing that also motivate that bank to dive into this partnership with us is this offer of, okay, I'm going to give you a pilot for free. I'm going to give you a pilot. I'm going to test it with you. And you will see that it's working and it's valuable. And we're going to build that MVP together. And I think for traditional business people, traditional banking people, particularly in Haiti, that was, yeah, you are trying to be very innovative here. Let's try this. And they say, okay, you can have the platform. Let's do this. And we launched our product. And we were navigating into an unregulated or badly regulated environment, meaning why we were looking for a banking partner, it's because the regulation forced us to have a banking partner. And it didn't work. It didn't work. So we had to fill that void. We had to build that regulation. Again, we took our little bag and go to all the central bank office and say, okay, this is the regulation we need. This is why we need it. I have to say the international community was really pushing for this also, saying digital transaction is the future and we need to go that direction. And 2016, our product was 3 years already on the market, slowly making our name, but we start pushing for a new regulation, pushing for a new regulation because the one that we had forcing us to have a banking partner was not appropriate. We even wrote the regulatory framework for the central bank. Well, pretending to. And one day we say, okay, central bank, I remember I wrote a letter to the central bank and saying, I want you to come and regulate me and treat me as a financial institution, standalone financial institution. I don't want any banking partner. Just look at me as a financial institution. I will bring financial inclusion as you wish, because that was the wish of the central bank. And they want to promote financial inclusion, etc. And they wrote back and say, we're sorry, we don't have a regulatory framework to regulate you. Please be patient. We're working on it. We sent a draft and never hear about them for a year. And a year and a half later, they just issued that new regulation for fintech. And that was 3 to 4 years ago. They issued that new regulation for fintech, allowing digital payment solution provider to fully operate it independently on the market, regulated by the central bank. And they ask us, can you submit your request to be regulated? And then we submit again a request to be regulated under that new regulation. But we know that initially our model started trying to copy what happened in Kenya, but copy and paste doesn't work in that environment. And Haiti is a different environment, is a different world than how it is in Kenya. So we have to bring new solution. And that solution, quickly we realize it's coming from the diaspora money. $4 billion per year coming in the country. And this is one of the main source of revenue for the majority of the families in Haiti. And Haiti became too small for us to play our strategy, and we needed to have a presence within the diaspora. And by digging, researching, and putting up things to set up CellPay, we realized that we are part of the Caribbean, but the diaspora from the Dominican Republic is facing the same issue. from Barbados is facing the same issue. Why focusing on Haiti? Well, we know the market. We know how things are going on. We already have business implemented in Haiti, but we can now look at the Caribbean, Latin America, and provide solution to those markets as well. So CellPay came in play as community-driven solution for digital international remittance.
Well, you mentioned it. The Latin American and Caribbean markets represent a very complex ecosystem of challenges and actually untapped potential. And those regions have long struggled with traditional banking limitations, extremely high transaction costs, significant portions of unbanked populations too. And understanding all these little nuances requires more than just a little bit of a surface level analysis. And Pascal, you have a unique ground level perspective to these regional dynamics, and having built solutions like HaitiPay and CellPay that directly address these systematic barriers that are preventing financial accessibility and economic mobility for these markets. What would you say are the top 3 key challenges that are facing digital payments in Latin America and the Caribbean?
It's having that right partnership. We are not going to implement directly in these different markets as we know everything about these markets. For us, partnership is key, because in these different markets, you have key players who already understand how their market is evaluating, the dynamic of their market, the regulatory framework of their market. So for us, the strategic partnership that we are implementing in the different countries of the Caribbean is very important to us. What is common to this market is that they have this inflow of international remittance coming their way, and there is a need to canalize this into better investment also. Challenges is to get to this market as an outsider. And that's where platform like Fintech Island for us is very, very important. You're not dropped into a market just like that. You find your way and build trust and build strategic partnership in different markets that you want to operate in. And that's very important because, first of all, the strategy of behind CellPay is also community driven. So you need to understand what is this community, what they need, and how they see that solution. And partnership is very important. Partnership is very important.
It's funny you bring up the partnership and having, I'll call it the trusted advisor to really help you go into a new market. That's one of the things that I've had the pleasure of doing throughout my career, is help a lot of companies that are outside the US come into the United States and identify the distribution, identify the process, identify the financial partners, the technology partners, all the fun stuff that they need, because US market is completely different. But I've also had the opportunity of helping companies expand into Latin America, as well as Europe and the Pacific, as well as Asia. So it's been really interesting to be part of that and see all those different things in the Caribbean. I've done a little bit of work, and we've done some mobile payment acceptance to get the ability to accept the Visa and the MasterCard transactions down there. But I would love for you to share with us your perspective on companies that are looking at addressing these challenges within the Caribbean of finding the right partners. How do you suggest they do that? What is the style that has worked best for you to find these partners that are able to help you deliver the solutions that are needed?
Yeah, when it comes to the Caribbean and Latin America, I think getting together is the best style. Like really getting together in a party style to really have this open style conversation and be open and honest to each other, because we share a lot of our background and there's a lot of things in common. And exchanging on that gives us perspective and open our mind to what kind of partnership we can have and how we can make it work. But I think in all relationship, or even at the beginning, the fundamental is trust, and also sharing that common interest. That is very important. And this is one thing we have in the Caribbean. I know when I present myself and I present Haiti, I'm speaking about a problem coming from Haiti that is not specific to Haiti. And the approach of the solution can be different from here and there, but we're going in the same direction, and exchanging on that is very insightful and bring us together, I think. And yeah, it all starts with that get together party.
One of the things that I have always found fascinating when I leave the US and Europe and Asia, I start looking at sub-Saharan Africa. There's a lot of digital payments that have gone on there as well. But you look at Caribbean and Latin America, and it's still like really dominant cash payments, low digital adoption. Innovation for innovation's sake is not a great thing. It shouldn't just be about creating a new technology. It really should be about solving a real world problem with some strategic, user-centric solutions. One of the things I thought was really interesting is CellPay represents more than just a digital payment platform. It seems to be this bridge connecting the Diaspora community to their local economies of their homeland. And it doesn't matter where they live. So I would love for you to share in what ways you're seeing the communities benefit from companies like CellPay to enhance financial inclusion for these underserved regions.
The diaspora is always, from any community, diasporas have this sentimental, emotional connection to their local community. And they send money they feel guilty or feel responsible for this. And also out of a feeling that they have in the back of their mind, this is someplace that they might go back. By connecting the diaspora fund to the local community and how it can serve as a source of funding to create wealth is what the local community needs and what the diaspora is looking for as a result of the action of sending funds also.
A lot of these communities, especially Latin America and the Caribbean, are super, super cash heavy. How are you enabling the Diaspora communities to participate in such a cash heavy environment and being able to build the trust with those folks that don't have the trust in the financial institutions? How are you guys handling that?
It's creating this ecosystem. It's creating this ecosystem of transaction and make it less interesting to use cash. Less interesting by saying that it's less necessary. It's not useful anymore to use cash. It's not as important to use cash. Trust is a very important factor in financial transaction. Information brings trust. When we have reliable information at the same time, we trust the transaction. We trust the medium that led to that transaction, that made that transaction possible. It's not that we don't trust or the users don't trust digital finance. They need to have the information. They need to be in control of all the information regarding that financial transaction. A simple thing can be, I sent the money at 11 p.m. and you said it's going to be received in 2 hours or immediately. It needs to be, I need to know that it was received. I need to know that I need to have this information. And that's very important to build trust. And the instant delivery of things is also very important. We live in a world where things need to be right away. And
I was just looking at Amazon and said it was going to be 3 days till it got to me. And I'm like, oh, I don't need it that bad. So I totally understand the instant delivery mechanism for that piece of it. Do you have an example of how digital transactions are entering into the cash-based society and how you're leveraging the technology to really enhance that opportunity within the communities?
I don't like to say informal, but let's say the bottom of the pyramid of the financial transaction. And it's a very small group of people getting together from the same community, and they put their money in a metal box with locks and as saving, literally as saving. And actually, every amount of money they put in the box is a share. And when they need for business or to buy something, they ask for a loan within that community. Everybody knows that they ask for that loan, and they repay the loan with interest. Whenever they're late in payment, they have to pay a fee. So the box is kind of generating revenues. At the end of the cycle, the revenues is shared among the participants, giving access to funding and saving and funding based on trust. It's the most important thing in this community is trust, because everybody knows who has a loan and who is late on payment and etc. And me and my team at HaitiPay, we developed an application to digitalize, because it's only cash, to digitalize this type of financial activity. And we connect that digital saving and loan association to the Diaspora route. And the Diaspora can actually now fund any business directly into that digital saving and loan application. And the members receive the funding to expand their agricultural business, buying agricultural input or invest in machinery, etc. This is one way that CellPay is bringing the fund from the diaspora, putting it in the local community for investment, not for just spending, but for investment to create wealth within that community. It was accepted as an alternative to using the box full of cash for security, of course, but mainly because this application, this technology, they could trust it, they could see, they could have access to all the information. They were in possession of all the information regarding transaction. And that's how they could trust this platform. They could trust this digital system of doing financial transaction. And this is a very interesting program that is bringing a lot of key information on how the diaspora is ready to fund businesses, small businesses, local communities, local merchants, instead of just sending money to be spent in anything but creating wealth. So yeah, the results are incredible here. The results are incredible.
Well, the path of a fintech entrepreneur is rarely straightforward. And it honestly requires a unique blend of technical understanding, market insight, regulatory navigation, as you've mentioned, and an unwavering level of resilience. And Pascal, you've not just survived this challenging landscape, but you've thrived to really create some meaningful change. I'd love to tap into some of that wisdom that you've gained from your journey and some actionable insights for founders that are looking to make their mark in the world of financial technology. What advice would you give to an aspiring fintech founder if it's the only piece of advice you could give them and you could only use one sentence?
Know your why. Know why you're doing this and where you're going with this. There's not one path. There are multiple ones, but know your why. Know why you're doing this. What result you want to see. What solution you want to see to that problem.
The other question I want to understand from you too is when you're a fintech founder and you're solving a problem, how would you suggest they balance that innovative technology with the regulatory compliance? I know you've had a lot of experience in balancing that, so I'd love to get your perspective on how to manage those things when there is either regulation that holds back or no regulation at all.
Usually technology is always in advance regarding regulation. Regulation is always trying to catch up and say, okay, let's wait for me. But we can't wait because technology, it moves very quickly. The thing is, when something doesn't exist or it doesn't fit your needs, you create it, you make it happen. That's how we did it with the central bank. We work a lot with them. We have a very direct channel of communication to tell them this is how, as a player, because we are the one on the field doing the job actually, and they are the one supervising and giving us guidelines. But this is how we want to play the game. And it's important to be able to have that seat at the table and say, this is how we want to play the game. And if the regulation doesn't exist, you create it. You work with the stakeholders, you make it happen. You cannot sit there and say, oh, it doesn't exist. Let's do something else. No, that's not an option.
I love the way that you said that. And it's something that I talk about with a number of folks that I work with in the industry is take the entities you want to work with along for the ride. Don't go out as a lone wolf. Bring the whole pack with you or bring the pack to them and really show them the problem you're solving, how you want to solve it, and then figure out together how best to protect everybody in the ecosystem. And I love that you've approached it from that perspective. What is the number one challenge when you look at leading a group of people in a blue ocean type scenario that you've been in? And what is the biggest lesson you've learned?
At the end of the day, you stay with the ones that share the vision with you. We have collaborators, employees that has been with us since the beginning. And for a country like Haiti, that's maybe for a young company, that's very rare. And they became part of the vision of the company, and they are shareholders actually. But it's not my goal anymore. It's our goal. It's our vision. When it's clearly stated, and that's where you have people starting to follow you. There are some that it's not their thing, so they will drop. But those who really share that, they understand it first. And that's where it has to be clearly stated in as a founder in your mind. Also, you have to have a clear vision of what you want to be able to communicate it and bring other people together with you and make it their own also. And I cannot say I'm the owner. We are, and they will not let me say that as well. They will not let me say that. They say, yes, we're here and we have history here. It is a challenge because sometimes you have disappointment. You need to have that team, but it's a long journey. It takes time. When it's well said and it's really well, clearly stated, you will have people following you.
The clear vision, being resilient, and when things don't go the way that you expect them to go, and really just staying true to that core vision, that core value of what you're doing and why you're doing it and who you're doing it for, that in of itself is a challenge.
It is.
And not just for the leadership, but for the entire group. Predicting the future of fintech, a little bit harder. It's akin to what I would consider like a parlor trick than mathematics or science. What we do know, though, is that over the next decade, that innovations will fundamentally reimagine economic opportunities and inclusion. I really appreciate your unique perspective from the Caribbean and other global markets, especially around the Diaspora community, as that's a very unique piece. And it has its own economic interactions and challenges to the traditional banking models. I want to get your perspective. And I've even brought a little bit of help.
Yeah.
So I've brought my crystal ball. And so I want you to do is I want you to look deeply into the crystal ball and tell me, what do you see happening in fintech that transforming economies in the Caribbean and beyond over the next decade?
We are definitely becoming a more connected communities. And now how we want to be connected is what we need to define. Transaction speaking, how we want to interact with others. And we want to be in control of how our digital transactions are handled. So there is a lot of potential of course, there's a lot of potential in this market, but we are becoming more connected, and this is happening whether we are here or not. So better have a seat at the table right now to be part of this evolution in the Caribbean, particularly, and how they are interacting to each other. Things are being done differently. The traditional financial sector needs to adjust. If they don't, well, there are fintech to do the job.
Do you see any major global trends that you think will have a large impact on fintech locally within the Caribbean that we don't think about right now?
I think AI will help us do things better and more efficiently, of course, but better into interconnecting our people. I think there's a lot of great things happening here. And it is not only for the advanced economies. It really can solve major things in the Caribbean, in Haiti particularly. And I see great perspective there. I see great things can happen. We have the conversational transaction. It's a huge opportunity. There are many things, but I think AI will play a huge part of it because of their efficiency in accelerating things without having this subjectivity of human. Of course, we need to be ethical about it. So as fintech, we have to be very cautious on how we are utilizing those tools. If we have if well thought and well implemented, there are a lot that can be done.
Pascal, I appreciate the conversation today. It's invigorating to have a conversation about solving a problem at the grassroots level, right? So many times, a lot of these problems start at the top and work their way down. And it's so fun to see it start at the bottom and go up. And that has been fabulous to hear how and what and why that has been done. We've mentioned it a couple times. You're going to be speaking at Fintech Islands. What should we expect? How do we get people so excited that they've got to come join us?
This is our third participation in Fintech Island. We are a partner of Fintech Island. We love Fintech Island because there is a lot of conversation that it helped initiated. And I think we are here this year, some announcement and how CellPay is progressing, and how we had a little shift in our way of doing things, but maintaining that objective of facilitating and better target the usage of digital remittance. So Fintech Island will be big for us this year. It's going to be interesting.
Well, I look forward to hearing the announcement, meeting you in person. This is going to be my first time. The team there has told me it is a great time. Yeah. You mentioned the party and getting everybody together. I'm told that that's going to be happening. So I'm excited for that. It's going to be great. Hope to see you all there in January. Again, it's January 22nd through the 24th of 2025. 700 plus people are going to be there talking fintech and what it means for the global economy and focusing mostly on the Caribbean.
It's a huge
event. This has been a great episode. Thank you so much, Pascal.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you. It was a pleasure having this discussion with you. Thank you very much for having me.
If you haven't already, go ahead, hit the like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Leave a comment. If you want to reach out to Pascal or myself, just go ahead and look down in the description or go to fintechconfidential.com and subscribe. And as always, keep moving forward. As we wrap up today's episode, I've got one last thing for you. If you're in the trenches fighting fraud and financial crime, you know it's a complex battlefield. That's where Hawk's AI tools for real-time payment screening, AML, transaction monitoring, and dynamic customer risk rating come into play. These aren't just buzzwords. They're game changers designed to make your compliance more effective and less of a headache. Imagine slashing through false positives with precision and giving your compliance strategy the edge it needs. Head on over to gethawkai.com to sign up for a demo and discover how their platform can revolutionize how you fight fraud and financial crime.
This has been a production of DD3 Media, with all rights reserved. This is provided for informational purposes only. It is not offered or intended to be used as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. We strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, but will not be responsible for any missing facts or inaccurate information. You comply and understand that you should use any of this information at your own risk. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile financial assets, so research and make your own financial decisions.